So this was a case this is just one case I would like to share with you. So this was a young girl, a 22-year-old female who came with a partial rhegmatogenous RD. Now she was a myope. Now in myope anyway it's difficult to locate the brakes. On top of that, to add to that, she was even albinotic. So in albinotic it is even worse to see the brakes. But nevertheless, I did manage to see what I thought was a retinal hole in the periphery, something like this, just a macula of rhegmatogenous RD, partial reg RD. And the other third bugbear was that this detachment also was shallow. So in a shallow detachment, you're always wondering whether should I just do a non-drainage procedure, should I drain? So I decided to operate, and I knew my options were either go for a non-drainage scleral buckle, tighten the buckle and see if the hole settles, you're done with, the job is over. Or if the retina doesn't settle, then let's maybe try and drain, or maybe eventually I was ready to go ahead and do a vitrectomy also. So this is a video. Now here, when preoperatively I was not able to really locate the brakes. I was not sure about the brakes. So here I went ahead with using the chandelier. Now this is a fantastic tool which you can really use effectively during scleral buckling. There I'm putting the trocar cannula, 25 gauge trocar cannula. I've tagged the muscles, and I'm using the chandelier light, the Alcon chandelier, and then using the biome to see inside, and it offers quite a fantastic view of the retina. Now you can see over here a myopic albinotic fundus completely, but you can see I'm depressing, and while depressing I was able to find the brakes. Might not be seen here clearly, maybe in the backdrop of the cryo you might be able to see, but the chandelier offers you such great view. You can do a cryo easily. You're sitting on the table, you don't really have to wear an IO, stand up. You do the cryo. In the backdrop of the cryo I could see those two atrophic holes. The third task was to drain the shallow fluid. So there I used laser in this case. So there's a laser drainage being done after doing the sclerotomy. Just apply laser to the choroidal knuckle and it gives way, and I was managed to drain that shallow fluid also. So after drainage, then it was just a small single break, so I thought why not do a sutureless buckle. So I just inserted a small buckle. I didn't really suture it also, and tighten my band, and then again put a chandelier, and the chandelier allows you again to assess the end point pretty well. So you can see the buckle effect over there, inforotemporal, buckle nicely sitting and the retina is attached. So scleral buckling has come a long way. Things have not really changed much in scleral buckling, but there are some 2-3 new aspects which can really alter, not only make your life easier during surgery, but really alter your success, improve your success. So one is chandelier in scleral buckling surgery. Offers a wide, excellent visibility of the fundus. Whole surgical procedure you can do viewing through the microscope. You can identify the unrecognized tears which maybe probably happened in this case. Scleral indentation can be done by the surgeon, and visualization is excellent even in the presence of non-dilating pupil, PCO or early cataract, where you could be struggling with the indirect ophthalmoscope. And obviously your back, as a retinal surgeon, it's your back and your neck which you're worried about. So that it saves the strain on those. Then you can precisely locate all the retinal breaks. You can undertake cryo as you saw in this video. Drainage of subretinal fluid is possible. Titrating the buckle height can be done quite easily. You can just tighten, loosen the buckle, see inside how tight or how high buckle effect you have. About laser drainage, I'm practically routinely doing laser drainage even in all my scleral buckling, because it's so simple and so easy. You make the sclerotomy, and once you get the choroidal knuckle, you just apply intermittent laser shots on the choroid, and the choroid gives way, and you can easily drain. It's very well controlled. And you can see the choroidal knuckle there. You just have to take the laser probe close to it, and with the aiming beam you apply maybe 4 or 5 shots, and it just gives way. With a needle you're always worried about causing a perforation or a retinal incarceration or a vitreous incarceration. You can see the choroid charring there, and once it thins out, it just gives way, and you can see the fluid coming out quite nicely. So those people who have the laser in their OT at hand, they can easily do this kind of a drainage. Yeah. And lastly, the sutureless buckle. Even, and this is also quite an effective way of going about doing a buckle. And you're always worried about these kind of scleral thinning when you're doing a buckle. And these kind of scleral thinned out areas can cause sometimes inadvertent premature drainage of subretinal fluid or uveal incarceration, retinal incarceration. So it's pretty simple, the sutureless scleral buckle. Once you've localized your break, you can see the cautery where I've localized the break. About 3 millimeters on either side, I'm making these tunnels. With these tunnels made, then you know that this is the bed of the buckle where your buckle will come. So all you have to do is just place your buckle there and then tighten the scleral band over it. So you've achieved the desired buckling effect that you get. Of course, this can be debated because you're not actually tightening the scleral buckle there. But I guess the tightening which the band offers gives the the desired buckle effect to support the break. You can see I'm measuring the bed of the buckle there. And I simply insert it. You all have to just simply insert it under the band and tighten the band. So this is a very simple technique, quite effective. Thank you.